When should you actually claim Social Security? This is one of the biggest retirement decisions you will ever make, and it is also one of the most misunderstood, because on the surface, it looks simple. Claim at 62 and get your money sooner, wait until 67 and get your full benefit, or hold out until 70 and collect the biggest monthly check possible. But once you start looking closer, you realize this decision is about much more than just picking an age. It affects your cash flow, your taxes, your portfolio, your spouse, and even the amount of flexibility you will have later in retirement. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the pros, the cons, and the biggest real-world considerations of claiming at 62 versus 67 versus 70, so you can better understand which option may be best for you. Now, before we jump straight into the pros and cons, we need to lay the groundwork first, because if you do not understand how Social Security works at a basic level, it becomes almost impossible to make a smart claiming decision. The first thing you need to know is that your retirement benefit is based on your 35 highest years of inflation-adjusted earnings. Social Security does not simply look at the last few years you worked, and it does not reward you based on how much you made in one standout year. It averages your top 35 earning years after adjusting them for inflation, and that calculation helps determine what is called your primary insurance amount. That is the monthly benefit you are entitled to receive at your full retirement age. The second thing you need to understand is full retirement age. For many people watching this, especially if you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. That is the age where you are eligible for 100% of your primary insurance amount. And that distinction matters because full benefit does not mean maximum benefit. It simply means unreduced benefit. You can still increase that amount if you wait beyond full retirement age, which brings us to the third key concept. You do not have to claim at your full retirement age. If you claim before it, your monthly benefit is permanently reduced. If you delay beyond it, your benefit grows through delayed retirement credits all the way until age 70. For someone with a full retirement age of 67, claiming at 62 means taking a roughly 30% reduction, so you would receive about 70% of your full retirement age benefit. On the other hand, if you wait until 70, your monthly benefit can grow to about 124% of that amount. That is a meaningful difference, and it is why so many people fixate on the size of the monthly check. But that monthly amount is only one part of the equation. So with that foundation in place, let's start with claiming at age 62. The biggest downside is the obvious one. You are locking in the smallest monthly benefit you can receive. And because that reduction is permanent, it does not just affect you for a year or two. It affects every check you receive for the rest of your life. But there is another issue people often overlook. By the time you are 62, there's a decent chance you are in some of your peak earning years. If those current years would replace lower earning years in your 35-year calculation, continuing to work could actually increase your primary insurance amount itself. So if you stop work and claim at 62, you may be giving up in two ways at once, by claiming early and by cutting off years that could have raised your future benefit. Another downside to claiming at 62 is the earnings test. If you are under full retirement age and still working, there is a limit to how much earned income you can make before some of your Social Security benefits are withheld. In 2026, that annual limit is $24,480. For every $2 you earn above that amount, Social Security withholds $1 in benefits. That rule applies to earned income, not things like withdrawals from investments or pension income, but it is still a very important consideration for anyone planning to work part-time while claiming early. And if you are married, there is one more major factor to think about, which is survivor benefits. If you are the higher earner and you claim at 62, you are not just reducing your own benefit. You may also be reducing the survivor benefit your spouse could rely on later if you pass away first. Now, with all that said, there are still very real advantages to claiming at 62. The first and most obvious is immediate income. Sometimes the best strategy on paper is not the one available in real life. If you need the cash flow, if retiring earlier protects your health, or if claiming helps you avoid draining your savings too quickly, then taking benefits at 62 can make a lot of sense. The second advantage is that every dollar you receive from Social Security is one less dollar you may need to pull from your portfolio. That matters more than most people realize. A lot of break-even calculations compare Social Security in isolation, but retirement does not happen in isolation. If claiming earlier allows your investments to stay intact longer, or reduces the sequence of returns risk on your portfolio, that can be a real benefit. In some situations, the lower Social Security benefit is offset by the fact that your other assets get more time and more room to work for you. Now let's move to age 67, which for many people is full retirement age. And before we keep going, if you enjoy clear retirement planning breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe, because every week we talk about the decisions that can help you build a more secure retirement. Claiming at 67 gives you access to 100% of your primary insurance amount. You are no longer taking the permanent haircut that comes with claiming early, and you are not waiting as long as someone aiming for 70. For many people, this makes 67 feel like the most balanced option. It avoids the regret of claiming too early, while also avoiding the long delay that can make waiting until 70 feel difficult or unrealistic. Another benefit of claiming at 67 is that a larger Social Security check is often more tax efficient than taking the same amount from a traditional IRA. Depending on your total income, up to 85% of Social Security benefits may be included in taxable income, and many states do not tax Social Security at all. So when you compare $1 of Social Security income to $1 pulled from a fully taxable retirement account, Social Security can often stretch further after taxes. And because your monthly benefit at 67 is larger than it would be at 62, that tax efficiency can become even more valuable in the real world. But of course, claiming at 67 has downsides too. The first is that it is a compromise, which can be good or bad depending on your situation. You are not getting the immediate cash flow of 62, and you are not maximizing the guaranteed monthly income of 70. You are essentially choosing the middle path. For many people that works beautifully, but it can also mean you are not fully optimizing either objective. Another downside is that if your life expectancy is shorter than average, waiting until 67 could reduce the total lifetime benefits you collect. If someone is single, in poor health, and unlikely to live well into their 80s, delaying too long may simply mean collecting fewer checks overall. That does not automatically make 62 the right answer, but it does mean 67 is not always the safe default people assume it is. Finally, let's talk about claiming at age 70. The biggest advantage here is clear. This is how you maximize your monthly benefit. If your full retirement age is 67, waiting until 70 increases your benefit by about 24%. That is a very significant jump, and unlike a portfolio withdrawal strategy that depends on market performance, this is guaranteed income backed by the system for as long as you live. That larger check can create a stronger income floor, which becomes more valuable the longer you live. If longevity runs in your family, if you are healthy, or if you are worried about outliving your savings, this is one of the strongest arguments for waiting. There are other benefits too. Delaying Social Security can open up tax planning opportunities in your 60s. For example, if you retire before claiming benefits, you may have several lower income years where Roth conversions become more attractive. Without Social Security filling up part of your taxable income, you can sometimes move money from traditional retirement accounts into Roth accounts at more favorable tax rates. Claiming at 70 can also reduce the severity of failure in a retirement plan. In other words, even if your investments underperform or you end up spending more than expected, a larger Social Security check gives you a stronger safety net later in life. And if you are married and you are the higher earner, maximizing your own benefit can also mean protecting your spouse with a larger survivor benefit. But waiting until 70 absolutely has trade-offs. First, it requires real delayed gratification. If you retire at 62 and wait 8 years to claim, that money has to come from somewhere else. Usually that means spending down your portfolio, drawing from cash reserves, or relying on other income sources. So yes, you are buying a bigger guaranteed check later, but you may be shrinking the asset base that could have supported you earlier. The second downside is the one no one likes to talk about. What if you do not live long enough to enjoy the larger benefit? None of us knows our exact lifespan, and if someone passes away earlier than expected, waiting can look like a poor trade in hindsight. Social Security is insurance, not an inheritable account balance. If you are single and die before or shortly after claiming, there is no untouched pool of value passed down the way there might be with an investment account. So what is the best age to claim Social Security? The honest answer is that there is no universal best age. The right choice depends on your health, whether you are still working, your need for current income, the strength of your portfolio, your tax situation, and whether you are making this decision just for yourself or for a spouse as well. Claiming at 62 may be right if cash flow is tight or your life expectancy is shorter. Claiming at 67 may be right if you want a balanced middle ground. Claiming at 70 may be right if you want to maximize guaranteed lifetime income and protect against longevity risk. The key is not asking which age is best in general. The key is asking which age is best for your plan. And that is exactly why understanding the rules matters so much. Once you understand how benefits are calculated, how early claiming reduces them, how delayed credits increase them, and how the decision affects taxes, portfolios, and survivor income, you can stop guessing and start making an informed choice. If you want to make the most of your benefit no matter when you claim, the next step is learning the strategies that can help you maximize what Social Security can actually do for your retirement. And as always, if this helped simplify the decision for you, make sure you stay tuned for more retirement planning videos designed to help you get the most out of life with your money.